Welcome to this episode of Butler's Inventor Playground. Today we're going to take a look at how to create the tunnel slide. Okay, if you take a look at here, we have a couple of dimensions to work off of. We have our first height. We're going to draw this line straight up, which is 36 inches. And then we're going to have to create some layout lines or construction lines in order to get to this point up here. Okay, so the height of the slide is 132 inches. The length is 120, so we're going to draw a line 36 inches up, 120 inches over, 132 inches up, and then come back down for this line at 36. And then we'll delete some of those construction lines or layout lines that we made. Okay, let's begin. Let's go to the orange file in the top left-hand corner. We're going to go down and select New. Then we're going to choose Standard IPT and click Create. We're going to start with a 2D sketch, and we're going to place that on our XY plane. Click Front in our World View Cube to zoom all, and we're going to begin with that first line from our origin straight up. You can tell I'm at 90 degrees and I have that gray box that snaps to 90, and this distance is going to be 36 inches. Press Enter on the keyboard. Press Escape. Let's click Front in our World View Cube. Okay, so there's my 36-inch line. The next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to draw a line from the origin over 120 inches and then up 132 inches. And then we're going to come back down 36 inches before we can delete those layout lines. Okay, we're going to have to do some clicking front or magnifying glass piece of paper because these are some pretty long lines we're going to be creating. So line tool once again, start at your origin. We're going to go out to the right hand side. See my 0 degrees pop up there. And this distance is 120. Press Enter on the keyboard, and you can see it went way off my screen, so I'm going to click magnifying glass piece of paper, or you could click Front in your World View Cube. That'll work too. And then I'm going to go straight up. You can see I'm at 90 degrees over here, straight up, and this distance is 132. You're going to type in. Then press Enter on the keyboard. Once again, I'm off the screen, magnifying glass piece of paper, or click Front, zoom all. Now that I'm all the way at the top of my height, I'm going to come back down this 36 inches here. And that's going to be the top part, or the place where I enter my slide, and this is where I come out of my slide. So I'm going to come back down again. I'm at 0 degrees, matching right over the top of that line, and I'm going to change the distance to 36 inches. Press Enter on the keyboard. Okay, now that I got my dimensions on here, I have my starting height and I have my ending height for my slide. I need to get rid of these layout lines or construction lines. So when it turns red, I'm going to click once, press Delete on the keyboard. The bottom line, I'm going to click once and then press Delete on the keyboard. Okay, to make things look a little bit easier for us for when we make this swoop that comes down for our slide, I'm going to take my 36-inch dimension and I'm going to take and pull this off to the side. And I'm going to take this 36-inch dimension and pull this over to the side as well. Okay, if you can't click on something, press the Escape key. When it turns red, then click and drag it. So now I have my part where my slide, where I enter up here, and I'm going to swoop down. This is where I would get out of this slide. Okay, now let's take a look at the next part. We're going to take and we're going to create these arched lines using a new tool for us, which is called a spline. Okay, and it's going to be multiple clicks in order to get that curve created. So let's take a look at how to create that. Underneath my line tool in the Create section, there's a second button. The first one, top one, is a icon. The bottom one says line. It has a pull down arrow here. I'm going to click and hold down on that. And then I'm going to click Spline Controlled vertex. It's the one directly underneath the line tool. Okay, let me show you where that is again. So here's our line icon. Underneath it is a split button that says line. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to come down to spline controlled vertex, the second one in the list. Okay, then starting at the top of my slide up here, I'm going to get my green dot. I'm going to click, and I'm going to move out a little bit and click. I want to have at least 5 click points in here. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, and I'm going to come down here, green dot at my endpoint, and click again. When I finish this green check mark, I'm going to click right here, and that shows me the bottom of my slide. Next, I want to match that to the top as well, so I'm going to get my spline tool again, green dot at the top, click and come out. There's 4, here's 5, and green dot at the end. There's 6. Green check mark. Okay. So there's a basic overall profile of my shape for my slide. I'm going to green check mark finish sketch. I'm going to go home so I can see what I'm working for. And now I'm going to take and extrude. Let's take a look at our drawing. So the extrusion depth is 36 inches. I can see that here on my top view from front to back. It's 36 inches, so let's extrude that distance. So we're going to take and extrude. My profile highlights blue, and it shows you that orange arrow coming towards us. We know we should flip that, so let's flip it to the opposite side so the orange arrow is going away from us. And we're going to change our distance here to 36 inches and click OK. Okay, now if we take a look at our part right here, you can see that I don't have an entrance into the slide. And then when I take a look at my drawing, there's an entrance that goes in my slide and all the way down to slide out the bottom. So in order to do that, let's take a look at this note here. Sketch profile of slide first. We did that. Use the layout lines to create profile. Yep, we did that. We extruded the profile 36 inches, and now we're going to use the shelf function with a 3-inch thickness for the faces. So let's go back to our drawing. We're going to come up here to our modify section in our ribbon bar, and we're going to choose shell. Okay, we're going to come in here, we're going to click the place where we would go into our slide. We're going to rotate around by either using our orbit tool, and we could rotate this around, or we could click on the bottom left-hand corner of our front view in the World View Cube to rotate that around, and click on the part of our slide where we come out. Then we're going to change the thickness right here to, how much is it? Back at our drawing, thickness for the faces is 3 inches. So let's go back, thickness, we're going to change to 3, and then click OK. That looks awesome. Now we should be able to rotate this around, and you should be able to see through one side of our slide and out the other. And there you go. Okay, that looks great. Tunnel slide is done. Next, we'll have to work on the spiral slide. But before we do, let's make sure we save this part. Let's go up to our orange file in the top left-hand side of our computer screen. Let's go down to Save As. Once again, make sure you're in your H drive. First initial, last name, 000. And part 16 is not a good name for this. Let's change that to Tunnel Slide. Once we have Tunnel Slide, double check your H drive is selected. Click Save. Excellent. Now we're going to move on to your final part, and your parts will all be completed. That is the spiral slide. I'll see you over in the next episode. Nice job on your tunnel slide.